And I cannot imagine anyone better than my partner in this, Mr. Tony Slipstock, starting, because he's going to share with you something that is a first concept that you want to understand about time management. We're going to share with you really valuable concepts about time management, because this is something a lot of people are struggling with, right? How do I manage my time? How can I be more productive, more effective? How can I be more profitable in that time? How can I be more focused maybe in that time? So we're going to share some really great ideas. So pay close attention, right? And if you want to, you can make some notes, but just listen first to get the ideas. Just be open-minded to listen. And the reason why I'm saying Mr. Tony Slipstock is one of the best people that I can imagine to share something about time is because he was actually an efficiency expert in his corporate career in the project management field. And there he learned a lot about time management. So I'm going to hand it over to him to share a story that will just be the game changer in what you are thinking about time management. Take it away and share with that, what is the story and why is it such a good story?
Amazing, thank you so much. And if you're watching us either live or a replay, just put some love in the comments for John, my lovely partner. I really appreciate being on this journey with you. And you know, time, we're going to talk about that too, but time is an illusion. And there's a good story from our good mentor. Hey, Patricia. Patricia is live with us from Facebook. So Bob Proctor, as you well know, is one of the most successful experts in human potential and success. And he's the GOAT, right? Greatest of all time. And he had a really nice grandma who, since he was 60 years old, he was saying, "I'll soon be gone, dear, I'll soon be gone," right? And he kept saying that since she was 60 years old. And she died when she was 94, I believe, right? And 60 till 94, she did not die, right? And at the same time, and Bob loved her grandma. She was really, really sweet and lovely grandma. And Bob at the same time had a best friend whose name was also Bob, I believe. And his best friend got driver's license, right? And he's got himself a new truck that he was very, very eager to go and test drive, I believe. And as soon as he got his driver's license, he went on to test drive. And unfortunately, he drove on a bridge and drove on the concrete wall of the bridge. And he unfortunately died on that accident. And he was 16 years old. So at the same time, if you would have asked half an hour earlier from that Bob's best friend Bob, how long are you going to live? He would for sure say to you that at least half a century, right? I'm 16 years old. How much time do I have? Plenty of time, right? And at the same time, Bob's grandma thought she's going to pass away the next day, right? And so what we want to really highlight for you here today is that you don't know how much time you have is one point. And at the same time, what I want to show you too is Bob always had, and I was very, very inspired by it. And I have a gift from my love, and she surprised me with it. Is Bob always had on his desk in his office, he had a really nice stand timer on his desk. And I always loved it. I was really admired that he had that. And one day, my partner bought me a sand timer, right? I gotta remove my now background, which is not a good idea, but maybe you can see, but it's a sand timer, right? You can see. So the purpose of the sand timer is always the sand and it'll show you time. If you turn it over, you can see that on top here, you have what is called the future. On the bottom, you have the past. Time is always already passed from you, right? And in the middle, we have the present moment. So what happens is, if you look at the story of Bob's grandma and Bob's best friend, Bob, then he did not really know how much time he had left. Neither did the grandma, but grandma was sure she was about to pass away tomorrow, right? But they all, Bob, Bob number two, Bob's best friend, they both had the present moment. Unfortunately, a lot of us are not aware that this is the only moment, this is the only place in our world that we can actually make a decision. We can actually change things. If you don't like anything, we can't change it here in the past, and we can't change it here in the future. Why? Because they're not here. There's no past, there's no future. There's only now, right? So if we want to actually elevate anything, and if we want to manage anything, if we want to manage our time, we need to look at the now and realize we don't know how much we have left, and we do know how much we has passed already, but we can't do anything about it, right? So the moral of the story is value your time. Really ask yourself, what is the value of your time? And that is a good reminder on my desk, on my cupboard right now, that I don't know how much that I have left. And that's why I want to be as much present as I can and do with that time here the best I can. So that said, we have another story actually to share. And so Tanya here has a brilliant background actually in multiple areas. I couldn't go on all into everything she has done already, but I believe she's one of the most effective time managers, really, or like we call it we call it not time management, but we call it, what do we call it? We call it activity management, right? So she's really good at it. But what I wanted to say, when she was studying in the university, she was studying, and you actually know if you go to university, it takes a lot of effort and time, right? But she was studying and having a full-time job at the same time, and while commuting work, she would have time to study, right? So she's very good at managing two things, or even three or four or five things at the same time, and being very effective at it. So I have really privilege and honor to work with Tanya together for quite a while now, and I know she's really good at what she does, and she's one of the most really diligent, efficient chefs, but really I know as well. So Tanya, I'll give it over to you. Tanya's going to share a very good efficiency and productivity story with you and how you can actually multiply your time. So Tanya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tanise. Let's put some 8s in the chat because as you can see with Tanise's fantastic shirt, mindset is everything. And that's what we're talking about here, perception, etc. And the story I want to share with you, it relates to Bob as well. And it relates when he had his mentor, Mr. Earl Nightingale. So one beautiful weekend morning, they're in a restaurant having breakfast, and Bob Proctor, knowing that these moments are super special, it's a privilege to be in the same room, have that ability to ask your mentor any question. So, with all the respect that Bob had for Earl's efficiency and everything he created, and the time that he had, Bob was just amazed because he knew at the end of the day, him and Earl both had 24 hours in a day, but somehow Earl was doing so much more than Bob. And Bob wanted to know why. What's his secret? So he asked Earl, he said, Earl, I see you are involved in a multitude of projects and you get so much done. Tell me, how do you manage your time? And Earl, being the mentor, started laughing. And he told Bob, he said, what a silly question, in that deep voice that Earl has. And so he said, Bob, it's not about managing time. It's about managing activities. And that was an absolute game changer for Bob, because here he was all these years thinking, oh, I have to structure my day according to all the hours that I have in it. But Earl was managing his activities. So that was the razor's edge that Earl Nightingale had. And speaking of razor's edge, I want to pass it off to Janet now, because she's going to share the huge time management technique that had a huge impact in the business world. But before I hand it over to her, I want to share with you her time management expertise. So Denise was super kind talking about my efficiency when I was commuting to and from school, but Janet, she took that efficiency to another level. What I mean by that is when she was a single mom, caring for her young son, he was about 6 years old, she also had a full-time job. So think of this, she's wearing the single mom hat, she's wearing but I would say mostly full-time employee hat, because she had a workload of about 70%. And then she was studying her specialization in the legal practice that she has. And that is, to me, keeping your sanity, making sure your child is thriving is an absolute skill. So Janet, take it away and share with us this final technique.
Thank you so much. Everyone, please share some love in the chat for Janice and for Tanya. I'm so blessed and humbled to be with these both individuals, and we have such a harmony, and we use time so productive and efficiently together when we work together. It's just a blessing and a bliss to be with you both. I'm really humbled right now. I feel so much gratitude and humility to do this with you both together. I love you both. And before I share an amazing concept with you about time, I want to recap a little bit. You see, when Denise was sharing the story about Bob's grandma and his best friend, Bob Gates, if you're thinking about time management, you will always be more productive and effective when you know what to do with the time that you have, right? We all have the same time. So the number one question in time management, we would say activity management, because you cannot manage time. You cannot squeeze it and compress it. You cannot stretch it. That's not possible, right? It's not possible to say like, okay, we're going to squeeze and compress 60 minutes now into 30 minutes. And we're going to say we're going to extend it to 2 hours. We all have 24 hours. It's the same time. So what do you do with it? And in order to be more productive and effective, the number one question is when you look into your calendar, all right, when you want to schedule things, when you want to get things done, because time management, Bob said it sometimes so simply, it's actually the art of getting things done, right? That's what we want, right? We want to be more productive, effective. We want to get things done, the things that we want. So the first and number one question that you want to answer yourself is, what does really matter to you? What is it that you want? What is important to you? What are the projects that you are working on? What are the projects that are urgent to you and are right now very urgent? Not important, urgent. And if you know what projects are important and urgent, me, for example, as a lawyer, deadlines are very important. So my time schedule in my work project law field is totally different than my time management in my work project load as a consultant or in my other businesses where I have investments. So I have different projects to work on, and my management of my activities are different, because in this project this matters, in this project this matters, in this project this matters, and all the projects have different priorities and activities located for them. Now, so what matters to you? How many projects are in your life? And if you have more than 3 to 5 and you have no idea how to manage your time, maybe you sit down and prioritize for the first time 1 to maximum 3 projects. What does really matter to you? What is the priority for you right now, the next 30, 60, 90 days? And if you look into your whole year, what does matter to you? And how can you prioritize certain projects at a certain time in your calendar? If you have that, that will bring a lot of clarity. This is what Bob meant. What do you really want? What does matter to you right now? Because time management or activity management follows your priorities. So how many projects do you have and what is the priority? Once you know that, we're going to get to the next story. I'm going to recap that a little bit for you. Once you know that, you want to see project A. What are the activities that are going to bring me to the end result in project A, okay, or project 1? My project 1 goal is, let's say, I want to increase my income or I want to make profit 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, whatever that is. Project number 1, I want to do this. All right, this is the time schedule. What do I need to get done in order to meet that? It's project management, right? It's activity management. What activities do I have to do monthly, daily? And break it down to the simplicity, right? So activity management, what action is important for you? That was what Earl did. Earl said, you cannot manage time, but you can manage activities. To recap that. And Earl learned this. Now I'm coming to the last story for you to take away with. Earl got this idea from an incredible gentleman who, in less than half an hour, with his efficiency expertise, earned $250,000. Can you imagine? With one single consultancy in his expertise field of efficiency expert, he earned 250,000 US dollar. Isn't that incredible? So this incredible gentleman, he shared his expertise with one of the steel magnates back then in the 1960s. I'm not going to get too deep into the story. That would take too much time. If you're watching this and you want to get that idea that Earl used and taught in his amazing new Lead the Field training of productivity, efficiency, and profitability, reach out to us. We have it. You can have it for free. Yes, it's a $250,000 idea for free for you. And I guarantee you, if you apply that in your life with whatever matters to you, he increased the productivity minimum 50% and made this in a steel industry to the owner of that company that he gave the advice to said it was the most profitable idea in his entire lifetime. And if you reach out and you get that story and you read it, you will understand why. Because that elevated that gentleman to the monopole magnet. So if you want to have the idea, Tanya was sharing that in the comment, reach out to our email with a request. Hey, what is the $250,000 idea? Please share the PDF with me. We're going to share the PDF with you and the story, and you can dive into it and apply it First and foremost, whatever you learn, use it, apply it. This can be the game changer in your way how you are managing your calendar. And from now on, see, we call it time management because most people confuse it like Bob back then when he asked Earl, how do you manage time for God's sake? You seem always so at ease, you know, you seem so at ease and you seem to manage it so wonderfully. And he called it time management, but it isn't time management. But you see, because everyone thinks, hey, how do I manage time? There are so many time management courses out there. And you know what Bob said? It's just the art of getting things done. That's it. What is it? Things, activities, is the art of getting things done. And I can tell you, if you answer the first question, what was it again? What does really, really, really matter to you? What are the priorities in your life right now? We have so many things that we put on our to-do list, but what are the priorities that will move you forward? Take inventory in that. Ask yourself that, sit down, make a plan of, okay, this year, so we're in November, your plan for the next year should be already on your map. If not, go get it done right now so you're prepared. And next year, you get like that one gentleman to a productivity increase of 50 and even 100, 200, 300% is possible for you if you apply this. Imagine increasing your productivity to 50 or 100%. What would your life look like? You're going to see, like, how is that possible? It's possible. It's possible. And one last advice I'm going to give you, and this is what I did with all of my mentees. Track your own schedule just for a week. Sit down and track what you are doing for a week, from waking up till falling asleep. How is your time spent? What activities are filling your week? You will be in awe how much time you just waste with things that are not your priority. And this comes with the mass indoctrination of the Prussian Empire. If you want to know what that is, reach out to us. This is what we shared in the money paradigm shift. All comes back to that. So track it. Awareness once gained, no one can take it away from you. All right. Again, we're going to recap it. What does really matter to you? You don't know how much time you have left. You know how much time you live. That's clear, right? But you don't know how much time you have left. What does really matter to you? Then go into managing your activities. How do you do that? That story we're going to share with you in the PDF. Reach out to us and you will get that story in a PDF for free. All right. And track your week with your activities. Just have fun. Just really, I'm serious. Look what you're doing in a 10-minute, 15-minute calendar. Put a week in a calendar and say, okay, I'm waking up at, let's say 6 a.m. I'm going to work and I'm going to sleep, whatever time. And in that time period, it will even amaze you when you wake up and when you go to sleep. I can tell you, it will amaze you when you eat, how much time you put into eating. It will amaze you what you do else, right? It will amaze you how much time you spend on your phone. It will amaze you how much time you spend on social media. I can tell you, you will be amazed and you will watch and look at your week. And it's like, wow, that's what I do. And then once you see that, now make a decision. Hey, Priorities for me are 1, 2, 3. I need to get this done in priority 1, and this in 2, and this in 3. And then put it into your schedule. Make it fun with colors. Make it fun with colors. I still today use a hand calendar. I worked with Google Calendar or a digital calendar. For me personally, I love it in my hands. My mentor imprinted it in me to write a lot with your hands, whatever goals you have. It sticks with me. I'm going to do that. Even with my grandkids, when they're going to record everything without any paper anymore, I'm going to have my paper and they're going to laugh at me. What a pollution I do with my paper, but I'm going to do it. So I still use a manual calendar. I love paper. I love working with and writing it with blue ink. This is it for today. If you want to know more about the mass indoctrination of the Prussian Empire, reach out to us. We still have the workshop available. We recorded everything. We have an incredible workbook in that you can work through to shift your money paradigms, and the book of truth that will help you to permanently make that shift in your mind. For today, if you want to have that PDF with the $250,000 idea to apply it in your life, reach out to us. You can have it for free. It's really for free for you. And I can tell you, we paid a lot of money to get it, this idea. But we want to give it to you, just that idea. Apply, because a lot of people ask, hey, can you do something about time management? That's really something I really want to figure out what to do. This is it for today. Next time, okay, because we want to do free trainings for you about topics that matter to you and that will help you move forward. What we have else, we had different topics where people reached out to us about, for example, how can we get out of debt? How can we really shift and release or do a shadow work and shift shadows in ourselves, paradigms in general? And how can we overcome distraction and procrastination? If these 3 topics are topics that you want to know more about, next time we're going to go through them